my new favorite purchase. Hey y'all, I am Chelsea, the content creator and designer behind Knitting Tipsy, and this is episode 12 of Show Us Your Knits. If you're new here, Show Us Your Knits is my yarny podcast where I get to be a proud 5-year-old and play show and tell with my finished objects and my works in progress since last we talked. And I have a lot to show y'all today. I just have to show you my new wine glasses. I love the sound and the iridescence-ness and the pinkiness. I do have a mocktail today. I have one of the San Pellegrino sparkling waters, but it has like some juice in it. That's really good. But I might have to go out of the house and drive later this afternoon, so mocktail it is. But seriously, check your ABC Fine Wines and Spirits if you have one. These glasses are just so pretty, and they have them in clear, like clear iridescent, kind of mermaidy, and they also have them in like a teal. I might have to get more. They're just so pretty. Anywho, I'm actually not wearing anything handmade today. I've been running around. My mom is coming to town this week. This weekend is my husband and my 11-year anniversary. It just been a lot going on, and by the time I decided to film, I was like, you know what? It's fine. I'm wearing one of my favorite t-shirts in my favorite colors, pink and green. This was from a comedy show that I went to by what is her name? Entitled. It's the Entitled Housewife. And yeah, this just cracks me up. She gone with the lovely bubbles on it. So it is my current favorite t-shirt of the moment, and I'm just wearing it with leggings as I've been doing stuff around the house. So no actual wearing of knits. This might be the first time ever that I've done that, and that was really stressing me out. And then I decided to just let that go. It's not that big of a deal. It's not that deep. I don't have to wear my handmaids every day, even though I often do. So with that moment of clarity, let's move on to finished objects. My finished object this week is the Therese Dress by Elizabeth Margaret Knits. I'm just so happy, proud, over the moon. Like, this dress is freaking incredible. Let me pop in some pictures here because I'm just so in love with it. Y'all, she is sexy, she is slinky, she is witchy, she is empowering. This dress is incredible. It's exactly my style. It's silver, like spun moonlight. There's so much energy worked into this dress. I'm so proud. I'm so happy with it. So if you didn't know, I have been working on the Therese Dress since April of 2024. So I did finish this a few days ago in March. Today is April 1st, 2025. So it 11 months that I worked on this dress. Again, I didn't work on it every month of that amount of time, but I did work on it quite often, and it has been through a lot of ups and downs with me, and I made quite a few modifications to it. It is part of a series that I have filmed here on YouTube called Magical Making, where I take my love of witchy things and my love of yarny things and combine them together. So this dress I knew that I wanted to make. I've known it for years. It's been in my queue, and I finally decided to cast it on last year. As I was working, like, I knew it was going to be a very meditative make, and I knew that I wanted to wear it on the beach for full moon and new moon rituals, you know, with the ocean, very connected to the moon, very connected to the moon goddesses. And I just thought, oh, this reminds me of the High Priestess, the tarot card. And from there, this idea was born. And I thought, oh, I could start like making projects that go with tarot cards, or making projects that, you know, have some sort of magical aspect to them. I have been working on this for quite a while, and I've done some modifications to it that I have talked a lot through. I'm going to go over them very briefly here in just a second. And I've also talked a lot about witchy podcasts that I like to listen to, full moon rituals. I think there was a beach journey on one of them where I talked about some ocean magic, and I've definitely done some tarot spreads and talked about tarot cards. So if you're into any of those things, you can go head back and look through the Magical Making series. There will be one more episode coming that is the wrap up for this dress. So I think that'll be out next week. But let's get into some of the details because, like I said, I'm very proud and I'm very excited that it's finished. This dress I made with Lion Brand Yarn Truboo. It's a bamboo yarn. It's so slinky and silky. I think there's mixed reviews. A lot of people love it because it feels just incredible. She is a grower. Truboo does grow. And especially if you're gonna make something that is heavy or that is long and it's going to have gravity working, this yarn does stretch. She does grow. But it has such a beautiful sheen. I think it's wonderful to work with. Some people, it can be splitty depending on the kind of stitches that you're doing. I don't really have a problem working with Truboo. I really like working with Truboo because it is so silky. It's definitely one of my favorite yarns to work with. For this project, I used 3.5 millimeter needles. Those are US 4s. And I ended up the dress, I just weighed the dress and I used 1,615 yards of Truboo in the pattern, and it is a beautifully well-written pattern. Elizabeth Margaret Knits is an incredible designer. She is the Florida designer, and her attention to detail, her size inclusivity, she's also very witchy, and she often includes notes. Each of her dresses is named after an empowering woman in history, and a lot of times they do have a little bit of magic or witchiness to them. So that's really cool to read about in all of her patterns. The pattern is very well written. I made the size 5, so I think it was made for like a 44 to a 46 inch bust. And the dress is meant to be worn with 6 to 10 inches of positive ease. So the biggest modification I think that I made with this dress is that if you go and you look at the pattern, I'll pop in a picture here of the original design. You can see there's a difference. The front of the neck of the dress as intended, I flipped it because the back has this beautiful deep V and I wanted that to be the front of my dress. Now, when I looked at the measurements in the pattern and I kind of measured it on me, I still felt like the V would have been beautiful, but it was still more shallow than I wanted. I wanted this to be a plunging dress. I wanted it to feel very sultry and sensual. And I do love bearing my décolletage, but I know that I could put a slip on, especially a very silky slip under this dress, and it would be incredible. I could wear it with a lacy bralette underneath if I want to have a little bit more coverage to it. It wasn't going to make it impossible to wear if I made this a very plunging neckline. So I decided to go for it, and I did do some modifications. I increased the depth of the neckline and tried to do that spaced out. I will have notes on my Ravelry page very soon, hopefully by the time that this podcast is live. If I have, I will put the link in the description if you want to check it out. Because I changed how deep the neckline is, it also lowered the armpits. I could have done the math to ensure that the armpits didn't have such a low depth, but honestly, I really like when dresses show side boob. I like it being really roomy, and I thought that that would just be fun and it would be less math for me to do. So those armpits, the armholes that you see, they're not like that in the pattern. I definitely lowered them down. The other big modification I made in the pattern was once I got to the waist and then I did the hip increases, which let's just look at the details here. How gorgeous is that faux garter seam? I love that. I think it's so beautiful. And in the pattern itself, that actually continues going down, but I wanted the hem split to be kind of sexy, like thigh splits. So I also made a choice to split the front and back much sooner than is in the pattern. Now, if you watched Magical Making or if you've been with these Show Us Your Knits episodes, you'll know that this was kind of an agonizing choice. I wanted the dress to be wearable, but I also wanted it to be very like borderline slutty with the slits, with the hem split. So I went back and forth for a long time, and I am now really happy with how it turned out. Could it have been higher? Absolutely, and I still would have loved it. But because of how boobiful the neckline is and the side boob, I actually am happy that it's a little bit lower. I feel like that this is very wearable. It's still very sexy, but it's not like over the top where the splits are. So I am very happy with how that turned out. Another modification that I made with the dress, in the pattern, the front and back flaps, the front and back panel, the two parts of the dress at the bottom, there is a beautiful sloped bind off, and then it has like a very clean edge to it. That doesn't involve any border work, really. Somehow I got it into my head that these were gonna be rectangular square and that it was gonna have a garter stitch border, and this is just what I kept envisioning as I was working on the dress. And then whenever I actually went and looked at the pattern and saw that it was different, I was like, oh, but that's not what I had in my head anymore. So I think the pattern itself is gorgeous, and I do love that curved sloped bind off, but I went with what was in my head. And I got this nice rectangular edge with the garter stitch border. The final difference modifications that I made in the pattern, there is some finishing work. She has some really lovely detailing, I think it might be ribbing, on the neckline and around the sleeves and on the front, my back of the neck. It looks very lovely, but I liked the raw edge, especially in the plunging neckline. So I opted not, oh, it's on this side. I opted not to do any finishing work there or under the sleeves, but the only two ends that I still have to weave in, I did decide that for the back, my back, her front, I did want to have a little bit of a finishing touch to it. So I did a crocheted single crochet edge. I wanted this to have some structure since a lot of the dress is very flowy and open, and it's more flowy than structured. So I wanted it to have that so it would sit well on my shoulders. And it does. I don't have to adjust this very much whenever I'm wearing it. The only thing that I have been doing, I wore it out with my friend Elizabeth. We went to my local yarn shop and showed it off. We went to a coffee shop and a bookstore. We went out to lunch and then came back. It was awesome. But the only thing that I did keep doing, and there wasn't an issue, but I kept looking down just to make sure were covered. And they were every time. So that's very good, especially since I think I'm gonna wear this out on my husband and my 11-year anniversary. It is this Saturday. We're gonna do the monorail bar crawl. So by the time this is out, I may be recovering with a lovely hangover. Hopefully not, I'm too old for that. But I do plan on wearing this out with him with like a really sexy pair of heels and some beautiful jewelry. I think it's going to exude that divine, feminine, sensual energy that I'm looking for on our anniversary. I got so many compliments wearing it, and I am just so proud of myself. It was a little bit hard to wrap this project up, I won't lie. I shed some tears because it's just another project that Rudy was there with me working on, and now he's not. And there will eventually come a time when all those projects are gone. I might have to always keep one unfinished, but we're not there yet. Trust me, I got plenty of projects, but it was a little bit hard to wrap this up, but I'm still very, very proud of it. I'm very happy. I love it. I will wear the hell out of this. I can't wait to wear it to the beach. I think that this will be really sexy on the beach. And yeah, my Therese dress, all finished. Now that is my big finished object. I have an almost finished object, but it's still technically a whip. So let's move on to whips. The first whip I'm gonna talk about, you hadn't even seen. I cast it on after we last spoke, and it's already practically done. It is the Daydream Shawl by Tony Lipsy of TLYarnCrafts. Y'all, I have popped my Tunisian crochet cherry. Yes, I did cast this on for the Pop Your Cherry Make Along. It is a make along. I showed you guys the back side of it. I could refilm that, but I'm not going to. Here it is in all its glory. Let's try that again. I cast this on for the Pop Your Cherry Make-Along, which is a make-along that I'm hosting over on my Ko-fi platform. It is for Ko-fi subscribers only, and we are trying new things this spring. A lot of people are doing spinning, or they're trying knit or crochet if they've never done that before. There's a big handful of us that are trying Tunisian crochet, and then there are lots of people trying new techniques. I know one of my members is steeking for the first time. A couple of people are trying lace work. I think somebody's doing cables. One person is freehanding their first design. It's just really cool. I love, it can be so hard to try something new sometimes. We, but I really enjoy what I'm doing. I just want to do these things that I know, because trying new things is scary. Trying new things can feel hard. But as Gigi reminds us, it is not hard. It's new, but sometimes you just need a little extra motivation to do new things. So that was really fun for spring, the start of nature's new year. We're trying new things. Now, I had tried Tunisian crochet. I actually just had a photo pop up in my memories on April 1st, no, like March 30th or March 31st, it doesn't matter, of 2020, I tried Tunisian crochet for the first time. It didn't go so great. I couldn't figure out the end stitch. There is something special that you have to do with the last stitch, and I had a really wonky border of a shawl that I was trying to make. I set that down, and it's been 5 years. I think in these videos I was like, oh, I think it's been like 2 or 3 years. No, it's been 5, because what is time? It's all an illusion. But I sat down with some videos recently. Tony Lipsy, the designer of the Daydream shawl, has incredible beginner tutorial videos on how to get started with Tunisian crochet. The video that I used, I think it's learn Tunisian crochet in 15 minutes. That's all I needed. That's really all I needed to get started. This is a great beginner pattern as long as you're willing to try something a little extra. It does have some lace work to it, just a yarn over, but I did kind of just wing. I was like, I think this is the stitch that I want to do. I think this is what I should do with a yarn over, knowing from knitting and crochet. And I just went with it. So sometimes you just got to go for it. But 15 minutes was all it took. And I cast this on the day that our make-along started, which was March 21st. It was the spring equinox. Today is April 1st, and I blocked it today. It's finished. It needs fringe. There is some glorious fringe to this project. I'll pop in a picture, if I haven't already, of what Tony's version looks like. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not gonna wear this beautiful fringy wonderfulness around my neck, because I might. Not here in Florida. Well, I say that, but probably not like this. This is a year that we'll be going home for Christmas to Pittsburgh, and I think we may also be going home in the fall. So maybe this is a shawl, especially with the fringe, that I will bring for home. But the ways that I think I'll be wearing it here in Florida, absolutely as like a little, it's just a little bit chilly. You're sitting outside on the patio drinking, and having like the fringe will keep my arms warm too. I think this is a very cute little shawl. And the way I will most likely wear it is tied around my hips like a sarong. I tried it on earlier. I don't have any pictures for you right now, but it covers the entirety of my bum and it goes down my leg. And I think with the fringe, this is gonna be so freaking cute as a little skirt cover up. I loved the yarn, the colors. This is one of my favorite colorways. It's also Lion Brand. It's the Lion Brand Mandala Ombre in the colorway Serene. I had leftovers from another project that I made, the Magic Hour sweater by Two of Wands. I bought way too much yarn for it, and I ended up with like 2.5 skeins left over. So I've used almost 2 skeins on this. In fact, I used 513 yards in my shawl, but I have tons of little balls of leftovers. And they're in different colors because with the Magic Hour sweater, I was trying to match some color work up. So I pulled apart those skeins and made mini balls of all the colors. So I think my shawl is gonna have a lot more orange and light pink fringe because I think that's all that I have left in the colors here. But I think that'll look really nice. I just won't have the darker pop of color in the pink. But it should be finished really soon, and I think I'll be able to say that I made a Tunisian crochet shawl in like, what, 10 days? Less than 10 days? Pretty impressive. Tunisian is so much fun. If you have never done Tunisian crochet and you're thinking about doing it, highly recommend. It is very fun, it is very easy, and it is very addicting. I did make a few mistakes. Everyone does, it's okay. Let's see if I can find at least one to show you, because I know it was early on. Yeah, there's a big old hole right there. Don't quite know what I did, but I didn't realize it until I was like up here. And at that point, I really had to work with myself because I wanted to frog back and fix it. But I decided not to. Sometimes it's okay to allow mistakes. Sometimes like we can just embrace it, and that's really hard for me. So I'm proud of myself for keeping going and not frogging back to fix it. Sometimes it's great to frog back, by the way. Like, I think that's also a lovely thing to be able to do, to not mind making sure things are the way that you want them. But also if it becomes like a perfectionist tendency, it's a good exercise in letting go of perfection. But I think there's one more time that I screwed up somewhere, and honestly, I'm not seeing it, so it couldn't have even been that bad. Cool. I definitely see more Tunisian crochet projects in my future. Two of the ones that I'm looking at for a later time are the Mellow Tunic by TLYarnCrafts, another Tony Lipsy pattern, but it's so cute. Again, I might have to figure out how to modify in Tunisian crochet because I think I'd like that V-neck a little lower, but it's very cute. Or the pattern that I'm just like, it was the pattern that made me think I want to do Tunisian crochet because of this. It's by Detroit Knots, and it's called the Comfort Tee. I love this design by Natalie. It's so classic and beautiful, and the stitch texture is just lovely. I love the drape of it. One of Natalie's testers, who's a very good friend of mine, Casey of the Scaniac, made a sample in this beautiful maroony mauve-y pink. And I need that. I need that. I want to make a mauve pink version for myself. So maybe in the future, I will be casting that on as well. So yeah, an almost finished object. We might even count this as a finished object. I'm not sure yet. But this is the Daydream Shawl by TLYarnCrafts. Whip number 2 is going to be real fast and easy because I have not touched it. It is the Relaxation Ruana, a new design by me. Y'all, I haven't even... It has gone nowhere. This is the bowl that I had it in after we last talked. I put everything in here. Haven't touched it. I hyperfixated on my Daydream shawl. I hyperfixated on the Therese Dress. And I had one other project that I was taking to Disney. And those are the 3 things that I really worked on. So nothing new on this project. Like I have told y'all many times before, this is a new design of mine, a crochet granny square design. I'll show you some of the granny squares, made with the Little Wolf Knits Holiday Pixie Sticks minis. Here you can see they're so cute. They are meant to kind of evoke Christmas vibes, but different than like the traditional ones, which I love. I'm also using Breeze Honey Sticks colorway. It's both the contrast color in all of the granny squares, and I will have about 10 to 15 of the solid honey stick squares. This is essentially a very simple granny square Ruana. I think it's going to be great for fall, over turtlenecks and sweaters, light sweaters. I think it's going to be great for the summertime to toss it on with a pair of cutoff shorts at the beach. I am so close to finishing. I think I'm like 10 to 15 squares away. I'm less than 10, I know that. I should have looked at my notes. I'm less than 10 squares away from finishing how many I need. Next steps for this project will be blocking all of the squares, and then I will be joining them together with the join as you go crochet method, which will add one final granny square round to each of the squares. It's gonna give me kind of an airy, lightweight join. It'll feel very spaced out. Maybe not very spaced out, but it'll feel a bit more breezy and open than if I were seaming them corner to corner. Or side to side, I guess would be more accurate. I'll be talking about like the things I'm going to be a little more focused on, but I am I think this is gonna be like a morning project for me to get some stitching in while I finish those squares. And then once I wrap up a few other things, it is something that I'll go harder on. I would like to get this out for summer, even if it's late summer. I think that would still be nice. So, relaxation Ruana, coming soon. My next whip is the Cordelia cardigan by Meghan Makes Do. Now, last time we spoke, I told y'all I had made no progress on it because I was working on other things. This week, I have made some progress. I don't necessarily think it's huge progress, but I have been bringing the Cordelia cardigan along whenever I am at Disney or sitting in front of like a movie and I need something completely mindless, because this is just a lovely stockinette knit cardigan. It's very simple. I love simple. It's very meditative and I love this yarn. This is the Feels Like Butta yarn from Lion Brand. We've had a couple very heavy Lion Brand weeks lately, but it is just so smooth and beautiful and buttery. And I am just embracing the hell out of my pink era. So I really love this. This makes me happy every time I'm working on it. I think I am about 15 to 20 rows away from finishing the back panel. This is, I think it's like a hip length. Cardi, let's see if it's on me right now. Yeah, right now it would be like my high hip. I'm thinking if I wanted it to go below my bum, I think that's gonna be right as the pattern suggests. I think I'm gonna need about 15 to 20 more rows. And then the back panel is finished. In the pattern, this is a bind off and seam everything together, knit the sleeves flat kind of pattern. I actually am gonna make just a few little baby modifications. So sorry if you can hear the noise the vacuum cleaner's going. But instead of seaming the shoulders together, I am just going to put the back panel on some scrap yarn and then cast on the two, well, one front panel, then the other, and I will do a 3 needle bind off for the shoulders. Then I'll be seaming up the sides, and instead of doing the sleeves flat, I am gonna knit them in the round. I might even knit them 2 at a time, like I did with my Jasper cardigan. I really enjoyed that with a big old magic loop and just being able to make sure that my sleeves have the same decreases and that they're the exact same length. It is awesome. I know some people don't like magic loop, which really does boggle my mind, but I think it's really fun, it's really easy, and I don't think it's very cumbersome to do 2 at a time instead of doing just one sleeve with magic loop. I think this is definitely gonna get some love in the next 2 weeks. If I haven't already said, I've been trying to make sure that I have a Show Us Your Knits episode about every 2 weeks. I know some people, some amazing creators and designers here on YouTube do weekly episodes. I feel like I wouldn't have enough to show you within 1 week. Plus I like being able to switch up and doing other things than just the podcast each week too. So, you know, if you're only here for these podcast episodes, I think they're gonna be going forward every other week. But yeah, so in the next 2 weeks, I am going to be doing the monorail bar crawl with my husband at Disney for our anniversary on Saturday. We'll be taking a trip later on down the line. We follow the letters of the alphabet and we take a trip each year. This year is K. We are going to Kentucky to do the Bourbon Trail, but we just haven't gotten around to planning that yet. So that'll probably be next month or the month after. So for just a fun day, we're gonna do the monorail bar crawl at Disney. I'm also going to Disney Springs with my mom this week. Oh my gosh, this week already. And I know that further on down the line at the end of April, I'm going to be going to Epcot again. And who knows, there might be more Disney days sprinkled in there. So she will be getting a little bit of love. I think this is such a great project for working on in line at Disney. And if you're at a movie theater, because you don't even have to look at it. It's just stockinette. That is not to say for everyone. If you are somebody who needs to look at your work, there's nothing wrong with you. You're doing everything just perfect. I can't do that with all stitches. I can only do it with stockinette, but by feel, I can knit and purl without looking. That's years of practice. And even if you've had years of practice, that's just not comfortable for everyone. Never compare yourself. So you'll definitely see this making an appearance, unless for some reason I hyperfixate on it. I assume that this will be I'll have it at least through the spring or the summer because it's not anything that I need to finish right away. This is just kind of a happy, joyful make that I'm going about slow and when I want to work on it. The next project that I want to talk about is the Rudy Beach Blanket Wrap. This is a new design by me in honor of my wonderful, sweet, beloved Rudy. So the plan was to get started on this, and it was going to be the next pattern that I put out. However, as I have started feeling a little more energetic, a little more enthusiastic going into spring, which I am grateful for that feeling and that energy. There have been some feelings of guilt that have cropped up with that I am working through. I know that that is very common. I do understand those feelings, but it's also hard to feel that way. But I am feeling some energy and excitement for project design again, and I think if I started with the Rudy Blanket Wrap, I wouldn't get any of my summer designs out in like a timely summer design manner. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to get one or two of my spring summer designs going that I know are going to be great makes. I have decided for this month of April, today is April 1st, that I am going to not let imposter syndrome take over. With everything happening in the world, it's like, if they think they can do it. Honestly, this week I encourage you to have the audacity of a mediocre white man. That's what we should all be channeling, because with all the fuck ups, if you make a mistake, who cares? Who cares? And honestly, you're going to be doing a better job than some other people are. You really are. So I am just going in guns blazing. This is going to work. I have learned from my past mistakes with the Tipsier Tee. Yes, we're kind of combining, I feel like, two whips right now, but I am going to, I think, put some focus on the Tipsier Tee. I have the yarn picked out that I want to use. I've gone over my notes from the last sample. I know what I want to do going forward. I think in the next 2 weeks, I can get a swatch going, I can get the pattern written up, and I can even get started on it. And doing that, moving the Tipsier Tee next instead of the Rudy Beach Blanket Shawl, that will allow me to get that top out into testing and hopefully out to the general public by summertime, like June, July. If I did the Rudy Blanket Shawl first, I don't think I'd get the Tipsier Tee out until August or September, which I just think business-wise, it's probably better to have a summer t-shirt come out in the summer. And the other thing that allows me to do is, because I do have that anxiety and excitement, it's both, of wanting to do some things for my business and wanting to get some things going, it takes the pressure off, oh, I gotta finish the blanket first so that I can then do these other projects. It really makes it so that I can work on the Rudy Beach Blanket Wrap at my leisure. I know it's gonna be a very emotional project, and I kind of think it would be awesome if I was able to time it. I'm not putting the pressure on myself, but if I was able to time it to come out around the passing his anniversary, which is in December. So that gives me a lot of time to work on it, to work through emotions, to make sure that it's exactly the way that I want it, and to have it out at a time that people are probably going to be into making shawls again. And I also think it'd be like a great memorial project for anyone who's working through hard feelings during the holidays. So essentially that project is gonna be put in like a see you soon area. I probably won't be bringing it up again until we start working on it later in the year, but I know that I had been talking a lot about it, and I just wanted to let y'all know why you won't be seeing it right now, but probably summer to late summer, I'll be bringing it back up and working on it and getting it ready for the fall and the winter. So yes, I'm not giving it its own separate title here, but the Tipsier Tee will be something that hopefully you see next week. That's when I'll actually be like introducing it, the Tipsier Tee. We'll see. The final whip that I want to talk about has not been casted on, but it is going to be the Vacation Vest by Park and Knit. This vest has been in my queue for a while. When this type of vest, if I haven't already, let me pop in a picture here. When I first saw Park & Knit's version, I was like, oh, that's really cute. And I had seen a lot of these vests in fashion, fast fashion, and even in slow fashion. And I was like, they're cute, but they're not really, I don't really think they're me. But the more I've looked at them and the more I've seen people style them, I think they can be very sexy and very cute. They're absolutely adorable over tops, not really my style. And some people have them so that there's very little showing on the chest. It is more like a vest in that sense. But I've seen some people style them so that the ties, there's a little bit of a gap in between each side of the panel. There's a little bit of décolletage showing. I just think they're so fun and so summery. I recently went to my local yarn store, Knitcessities, here in Orlando, and I was scoping out some yarn for this project. Y'all, the Juniper Moon Farms Cumulus. Yes, this is the yarn that I used for my monthly sweater by the lovely Elizabeth of Crochet Cakes. It is a Mako cotton yarn, so it almost feels like a blown cotton. It is so soft and so light, and it's worsted weight, which the pattern does call for. I think it says a light worsted weight yarn. Like I said, I am embracing my pink era. I think this color is so gorgeous. And then on top of, like, not only am I just excited to make it, but I will be casting it on quite soon, sooner than I thought, because I'm going to make this vest as part of a Disney bound at the end of the month. I'm not going to tell you what the Disney bound is yet. I'm going to make y'all guess. What would I need? This soft pink vest with I-cord bows. What would I need that for? See if you can figure it out. Drop your guesses in the comments. But I am so excited about this. This is a Disney bound that I have wanted to do for years. And I will just let you know it's not a princess. The pattern for my size only uses, I think, 500 yards. It is a very small pattern. I think that this is a selfish make that I can cast on in April and finish before the end of the month when I am going to Disney. So you will probably see, definitely see, unless I've changed my mind and I'm not gonna make it, but you will see this in action during our next Show Us Your Knits. We did it, y'all. Those are all my faux and whips from the last 2 weeks. I am just feeling a lot of energy and excitement again going forward, so I can't wait to work on my projects. I'm actually like very excited to even be wrapping up this episode because I'm like, I'm gonna go cast on. There is technically one more project that I haven't shown you, but it's a secret one, and I'm gonna get that wrapped up in the next 2 weeks as well. The spring energy is here. It really is. I'm feeling good about these projects. I hope that you are also feeling good about your projects. I do know spring can bring on anxiety. In years past, I have had that spring anxiety when it feels like, oh crap, now I really do have to get started after the winter hibernation. But I think because my winter was so horrible this year that I'm excited to live a little again. I'm grateful for the return of the enthusiasm for my craft and for my work, and just itching to get going. Thank you so much for being here, for watching. Please let me know in the comments what you are working on. I love to know what works in progress you have. Please don't forget to like this video. If you have a yarny friend you think would like it, please share it with them. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.